Good day, focus on Liberia Daily News. I'm Jeremiah Mogba presenting. Today is Tuesday, October 8th in the year 2024. These are big stories making headlines. Safer Society group under the banner join Safer Society anti-corruption initiatives. Petition President Joseph Boakai to take the immediate steps to implement governance and anti-corruption reforms, highlights the growing concerns over rampant corruption in Liberia. Anti-robbery unit of the Liberia National Police arrests 5 suspects in connection with the armed robbery of a Chinese national, Joseph Zog. University of Liberia dispels rumors regarding the potential end of its tuition-free policy, clarifies that there are currently no plans to discontinue the initiatives. Away from home, Kenyan MPs are due to vote on whether to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in a political war that has grappled the nations following his recent fallout with President William Ruto. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail, plus much developments. A civil society group sponsored by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia under the banner Join Civil Society Anti-Corruption Initiatives has finally petitioned President Joseph Boakai to take the immediate steps to implement governance and anti-corruption reforms. During a gathering on the grounds of the executive mansion on Tuesday, October 8, 2024, at Duffers Bank, one of the group's officials delivered a petition highlighting the growing concerns over rampant corruption in the country. He pointed to the widespread failure of public officials to declare their assets as a significant contributing factor. Ben, speaking on behalf of the Civil Society group, expressed frustration over what he described as a lack of accountability among those in power. According to the group, since President Boakai took office, only 23% of the more than 1,000 government officials have complied with the legal requirement to clear the assets. This failure, they argue, is a glaring example of how corruption continues to thrive in Liberia. The petition further called on President Boakai to take swift and decisive action against those officials who have failed to comply with asset declaration laws. Ben warned that unless the president holds these individuals accountable, the nation will continue to face significant challenges and embarrassment on the global stage. The group emphasized that Liberia's inability to tackle corruption effectively has damaged its reputation both regionally and internationally. Ben stressed that despite Liberia being a signatory to various international treaties and laws aimed at combating corruption, the country has consistently failed to take meaningful action against those responsible for these violations. The petition also highlighted that corruption is a significant driver of underdevelopment and poverty in Liberia. The group called on President Boakai to strengthen Liberia's anti-corruption institutions, including the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, and to ensure that public officials adhere to the highest standards of transparency and accountability. They stressed that this is the only way Liberia can move forward in a quest for sustainable development. The anti-robbery unit of the Liberia National Police has arrested 5 suspects in connection with the armed robbery of a Chinese national, Joseph Zug, a resident of Congo Town. The suspect, identified as Emmanuel Johnson alias Wallace, Alfred Labla alias Puyo, Junior Bondo alias Prince, Malachi Easy alias Promise, and Limo Togba were apprehended on Thursday, October 3, 2024, according to an official LNP press release issued on Tuesday, October 8, 2024. The police report stated that the suspects had previously broken into Joseph Zhu's home on Friday, September 13, 2024, at around 2:00 a.m. During the break-in, the robbers held Zhu and his wife at gunpoint, stealing an unspecified amount of cash and other valuables. The investigation revealed that the same group of suspects attempted another robbery at Zoom's homes on Thursday, October 3, 2024, at around 12:45 a.m. However, they were intercepted by the anti-robbery unit of the LNP while arriving into separate vehicles. A Tesla with plate number TX03201 and a Nissan sedan without a license plate. Both vehicles have since been impounded by the police. Upon arrest, several tools and items used in their criminal activities were found, including a pin bar, a steel cutter, diazepam drugs commonly used to incapacitate victims, and several keys. The suspects are currently in police custody, and investigations into the involvement in other related crimes are ongoing. The ANP has commended the anti-robbery unit for their swift action in apprehending the suspects and preventing further criminal activities. The University of Liberia had dispelled rumors regarding the potential end of its tuition-free policy, clarifying that there are currently no plans to discontinue the initiative. The reassurance followed reports from students facing difficulties while registering for courses for the upcoming academic semester, which sparked worries over a possible change in the institution's tuition structure. On Monday, many students reported encountering messages in their registration portals requiring full payment of tuition and registration fees before they could process with course planning. Screenshots circulating among students displayed alarming notifications stating all undergraduate students have to make 100% fee payment of the total itemized bill or total bill to be paid before being allowed to plan a session for courses related or selected. This unexpected requirement triggered panic among the student body, particularly in light of the financial challenges currently affecting the country. The tuition-free policy was introduced during the administration of former President George Weah and has remained unchanged since then. Recent speculation arose suggesting that the interim administration might consider reviving this policy as President Joseph Boakai prepares to take office. However, UL officials promptly reaffirmed that no decisions have been made regarding the suspension of the tuition-free initiative. Tom Kaya, director of UL Relations, urged students to proceed with their course planning and reassure them of the ongoing tuition-free status. Solidarity and Trust for a New Day, a leading civil society organization in Liberia, has issued an urgent call for President Joseph Boakai to swiftly reshuffle his cabinet and prosecute officials implicated in corruption. The Liberian leader has been facing increasing pressure from within and outside his party, the Unity Party, to sack ministers, some of whom appear to have been inactive and also facing allegations of corruption. Stan warns that failing to take immediate action could exacerbate the government's inability to meet its obligations, deepen the ongoing economic crisis, and deprive millions of struggling citizens of essential social services. Stan expressed grave concern over the widespread corruption on money the Boakai administration, stating that it has reached a critical juncture that threatens popular trust and requires decisive intervention. The organization also voiced disappointment at what it sees as the nation's political leadership failing to learn from history. Stan noted that the devastating consequences of corruption, human rights abuses, and economic inequality, which fueled Liberia's 14-year civil war and claims the life of 250,000 people while causing destruction estimated 100 to 150 billion. To safeguard Liberia's democracy, Stan is calling for the swift and impartial investigations into the corruption allegations, asserting that all accused individuals must be held accountable regardless of their political, religious, or ethnic backgrounds. Stan emphasized that Liberia is at a critical crossroad, stressing that corruption, internal divisions, underperformance, and economic mismanagement are undermining the Buckeye's administration's ability to deliver essential services, pushing millions into deeper poverty and despair, with a bold action to replace compromise officials and restore government integrity. The administration risks for alienate the public. The organization insists that President Bouakai must demonstrate bold leadership by restructuring his administration and surrounding himself with principled, competent technocrats who prioritize Liberia's long-term welfare over political expediency. United States Ambassador to Liberia Mark Turner says visa denial for Liberians has been an issue of concern to President Bouakai or the top officials of his government and the ordinary Liberians. About 82% of Liberian citizens applying for visas to the United States are denied. But Ambassador Turner says the U.S. government refused to rate on the assurance of its visa to Liberians has nothing to do with some personal vendetta against Liberia. A recent report has unveiled troubling statistics regarding the oversaw rate of Liberian nationals in the United States. According to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, nearly half of Liberians issued B1, B2 non-immigrant visas in fiscal year 2022 did not return to Liberia as required. Specifically, 48% of these visa holders overstayed their authorized period in the U.S., while the situation is somewhat better for Liberians on non-immigrant student visa. It remains concerning, with 29.95% failing to return. Speaking when he appeared as guest on the Super Morning Show on ELBC 99.9 on Monday, Ambassador Turner claimed that Liberians who travel to the U.S. on a through visa, 50% or more do not come back within the prescribed period. In foreign news, none in an election that was criticized by rights groups, Tunisia's President Kassa has won a second term with more than 90% of the vote. The Electoral Commission has said only two candidates out of more than a dozen other hopefuls were allowed to stand against President Sall in Sunday's ballot, where only 29% of the more than 9 million registered voters took part. Sall's closest challengers, businessman Ayachi Zambia, won 7% of the vote despite being sentenced to 12 years in prison to falsifying documents just 5 days before the poll. There were no campaign rallies or public debates, and nearly all the campaign posters in the streets were backing the president. 5 political parties has urged people to boycott the elections in the belief that they will not be free or fair. Tunisia was where a wave of pro-democracy protests in the Arab world began in late 2010. Oxteling, long-term autocrat, early the following year. The North African country has seen as a beacon of democracy in the region, but since Saad, a former law professor, was elected in a wave of ultimatum in 2019, the 66-year-old has suspended parliament, rewritten the constitution, and concentrated power into his hands. He has widely expected to win a second term after the authorities arrested and jailed this sentence, as well as potential rivals. The third candidate on the ballot, former lawmaker Zuhari Maguzu, received nearly 2% of the vote. The final result of the presidential election is set to be announced early next month, according to the electoral agency. Sunday's vote was Tunisia's third presidential election since Ben Ali was overthrown in 2011 following months of massive protests. He has been in power for over 2 decades before he was forced to flee to Saudi Arabia, where he died in 2019. To end the news, here once again, the headlines. Civil society group honored the ban on joint civil society anti-corruption initiatives. Petition President Joseph Boakai to take immediate steps to implement governance and anti-corruption reforms highlights the growing concern over rampant corruption in Liberia, anti-robbery unit of the Liberian National Police arrests 5 suspects in connection with the armed robbery of a Chinese national Joseph Zig. University of Liberia dispels rumors regarding the potential end of its tuition-free policy, clarifies that there are currently no plans to discontinue the initiatives, away from whom Kenya MPs are due to vote on whether to impeach Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in a political war that grappled the nation following his recent fallout with President William Ruto. That's Focus on Liberia, Daily News. My name is Jeremiah Moba. I presented. Many thanks to all of you